This is going to be a tough podcast to record. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mirror Army podcast for another week. Welcome to the Unleashed edition here on this Thursday. I'm actually recording this podcast late in the afternoon, just before I head off out to football tonight. So if this podcast is released a little bit later, I do apologise, but it's been one of those weeks where I wasn't even going to record a podcast at all this week. I didn't record one on Tuesday because of one of the main subjects of this podcast, but I'm here, I'm sitting down, and it's going to be a tough one to record, guys, but welcome back to the podcast for another week. Hope you're all doing well out there. Before we go any further in the podcast this week and talk about the subjects at hand, let's do a little bit of the housekeeping, as I like to call it here every week on the podcast, where I like to get through all the plugs, etc. If you're new to the Mirror Army podcast, first of all, welcome. If you want to get in contact with us here on the podcast for any subjects at all you'd like to talk about, any questions or anything in relation to the podcast, you can contact us by email, which is mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. You can also contact us on social media, directly myself, official Matthew Mirror on Instagram, also the YouTube channel page, which is Mirror Army YouTube channel on Facebook. Please don't forget to drop a like on that as well. And also for all your merchandise videos from all our channels all across the Mirror Army, whether it be the football videos, the vlogs, Lewis's gaming channel, whatever you want to check out, you can go to mirrorarmy.co.uk, which you can get all your merchandise and more for the Mirror Army podcast, Mirror Army YouTube channel, and much, much more. You can check out all our social media posts as well. It's like a Mirror Army hub, mirrorarmy.co.uk. Anyway, guys, how you all doing out there? Sorry to sound a bit down today. I'm just a little bit, I know this is the Unleashed podcast, and I'm kind of glad, so if I do swear, this is the Unleashed version, so I can swear if I need to. So please bear with me. It's been one of those weeks where, since the last time I spoke to you, let's just say it's been a pretty shitty week. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to be speaking to you for on this podcast, guys, but I'm going to try and speak to you the best I can, because I'm a little. Let's just say it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster over the last 10 days. Since I last on a podcast. I was supposed to do a podcast last Thursday, but I'll explain to you the reason why I didn't record the podcast last Thursday. But on to the main subject of the podcast, guys. This podcast I'd like to dedicate to the memory of a very good friend of mine who unfortunately passed away last Friday. A man with the name of Frankie Wilson. If you don't know who Frankie was a bit of a character. The man was so full of life. I met him, first of all, back in 2011, or 2011, for the first time when he was manager of Bangor Football Club. I know Frankie through working in local football. I know people will be tuning in to listen to this podcast because I've been advertising it the last few days. I met Frankie back in 2010, 2011 when he was manager of Bangor Football Club, and instantly from the start I fell in love with this man. This guy was just so charismatic, so passionate, so driven as a manager and as a human being. Frankie, before I continue on with the story, was a PE school teacher, an ex-Irish League player, ex-GAA player. He was just... Frankie was a phenomenal person, and when you ever met Frankie for the first time, you ever had the privilege of meeting him, he was just one of those people who you instantly fell in love with. He was just a complete character. Now, unfortunately, this past Friday, Frankie passed away after a short-term illness with cancer. I found out at the start of the year that he was diagnosed with cancer. Now, if you watch our vlogs, you'll know that Lewis, who's a photographer in the Irish League, was given the opportunity to take photographs at the Northern Ireland Schoolboy Internationals at the Harmouth Welders Football Stadium. Frankie, at the time, the last time I saw him, was still the Northern Ireland Schoolboys manager. They were playing Scotland, England, and I think it was Republic of Ireland as well in the competition for the Victory Shield. Or Centenary Shield, I can't remember which one it was. And the competition was held at our place and also Seaview. But I knew then that Frankie obviously was diagnosed, but I didn't want to say to him because I thought maybe it was just early stages and they could have cleared it up, etc., etc. But I kind of wish I had spoke to him now because I never got the opportunity to finally say goodbye to him and tell him how much he meant to me as a person. Because, I mean, come back to what I said at the start of the story, Frankie was involved all over the place. He was beloved everywhere he went, whether he was a school teacher at his recent job before he passed away at Our Lady St Patrick's College in Belfast up at Knock. Whether he was recently the manager also of Banbridge Town Football Club. He'd managed Bangor, he was manager of Lurgan Celtic, he played in the Irish League for years as well. Frankie was just a phenomenal human being who was just so kind and generous to everyone he met, and unfortunately he passed away this past Friday at the age of 52. Now, Frankie did mean a lot to me personally, just my job in the Irish League at the very start. I mean, I was going into this job at the start at Bangor, just wanting to film matches and stuff, and then I finally built up the courage to set up a football channel where I was doing interviews every week with Frankie, interviews with players, standing in front of the camera, doing news, presenting. You know, it was basically my foot in the door, and Frankie helped guide me when it came to the interviewing, how to interview people, how to talk to people. You know, as the weeks and months went by, I posted a couple of videos the other day on my Instagram and personal Facebook page about it all, and you know, the stuff that he done for me. I'll give you a little bit more of a background of Frankie if you don't know who he was. He was a father of three, who I got to meet his other two children at the funeral the other day for the first time. I knew more of his wife and his daughter Ellie, who's a grown adult now. I met her when she was a little young girl, when she used to come to Clandyboy Park for the Bangor games with Frankie, because her and Brooke used to run up and down the stands together when they were small. And when I saw Ellie the other day at the funeral, I was sort of like, "Hi, Ellie," and she sort of looked at me and she went, "I recognise you." I was like, it's Matthew from the football Bangor," and she went, "Oh my God." And we used to hang around with Brooke, and she's like, "Brooke, is she here?" And I was like, "No, Brooke's not here, but Lewis is here." And she took a look at Lewis and went, "Oh my God." You know, Frankie had 3 kids. He had an amazing wife, you know, who was a lovely lady as well. I got to see his brother-in-law for the first time, who looks very like him. I'll give you a bit more history. When it came to his career, I mean, he was a defender. Obviously, he played for Bangor, he played for Lisburn Distillery, Cliftonville, Ballyclare Comrades, Carrick Rangers, Larne, Omatown. He also played for Antrim in the GAA as well. You know, and then he went into management after his playing career. He managed Bangor. It's where I first met him. In the October that year, and then in the December, he won the Steel and Sons Cup for Bangor. I posted a video the other day of them celebrating with the fans that day. He was so proud that day when he won the trophy with Bangor. You know, when he won that Steel and Sons Cup, that was just just an unbelievable achievement for him. He was so happy that day. He was so proud of himself that he achieved that you know, status with the club, that he won the Steel and Sons Cup with Bangor. And you know, he was just one of those people. He was infectious. You know, and even watching him on the sideline as a manager, he was just so, how can I put this? And he was just so fucking passionate about his job, no matter who he was managing, you know, where they were playing, who they were playing against. He didn't mind, he didn't care. He treated everybody with respect, you know, and everybody respected him and loved him as a person, because he was just so infectious when you spoke to him, you know, and when you met him for the first time. And you know, he was just, oh. And then towards the end of his career, obviously he was manager of Banbridge Town and the Northern Ireland Schoolboys. But I mean, I always get fond memories. I have hours and hours of footage of Frankie from back in the Bangor days where I interviewed him. You know, I posted a funny one the other day there where we were standing, I was interviewing him after, I think it was a League Cup game with Crusaders at Seaview in Belfast, and we were in the middle of doing the interview, and I brought the mic back to myself to talk about a penalty decision, and the fucking lights were turned out at Seaview, and his reaction was priceless. Because when you want to go to my Instagram, guys, you can watch the video. I posted it the other day where I was in the middle of talking to him, and the lights cut out, and whenever the lights cut out, he was like, this is just Frankie's humour. He just turns around and says, for fuck's sake, put 50p in the meter, will you? Get those lights back on. And that was just Frankie, and he was just infectious. He was just so hilarious. And we finally got back inside, doing an interview outside the Crusaders dressing room. And his reaction when I first started talking to him again was priceless. And the behind the scenes of the interviews as well, he was just so funny. And then in recent times, when we went up to that Northern Ireland Schoolboys Internationals against England, Scotland and Republic of Ireland, and he knew Lewis and I was doing a photography, and I met him a few weeks before the competition up at the Dub in Belfast when the Welders were playing Queen's University, and he was there, and he came up to the gantry to say hello to me. And neither did I know then that horrible disease was eating away at Frankie, and I thought, Frankie's a fighter, he'll be fine, he'll get through it. But he didn't, and it took his life. And that what he done for Lewis recently in March at that competition, I will always remember. I mean, I have a photograph I posted the other day on my Instagram and Facebook and all too as well of him with Lewis. And the one thing that I actually fucking kick myself out to this day, I have to check somewhere, I have to keep checking on my old hard drives and stuff. I don't think I've ever had a photograph taken with him. I've interviewed him hundreds of times. Spoke to him so many times over the years on social media, in person, and I don't think I've ever got a photo with him. But I have the videos of me and him together talking. And when I heard the news, when I woke up last Friday morning, still in a lot of pain from my incident, which I'll talk about shortly. I woke up that Friday morning and just to hear the news that he was gone literally ripped my fucking heart out, and I was just heartbroken. And I woke up Lewis first, and I told Lewis, and Lewis couldn't believe it. Lewis thought I was joking. And then when I woke up Brick and told Brick just instantly went into tears, because Brick remembers him very, very well from back in the day, where he was so great to her. He used to treat her like a wee princess. And he always said to me, and it was mentioned at his service the other day, and this always sticks with me. And this is why I would like to be, everybody has like a role model in life, and Frankie would be one of those role models for a lot of young ones, and even a lot of older ones as well, and he always said to me, even when I first met him, I always say, Frankie, you play for all these big teams. What was your biggest achievement in life in general? Was it winning a cup? Was it winning a competition? Was it graduating to become a PE teacher or a school teacher? The day your kids were born, what was your biggest achievement? He says, my biggest achievement and my proudest thing in this world is my family. And that really sort of like hit home for me. And then the other day at his service, me and Lewis attended it the other day, and his brother spoke. My good God, guys, honestly, his brother's speech ripped my heart out. And honestly, I'm not ashamed to say that I literally blubbered like a baby when he said his biggest achievement was his family. And, I always say that my biggest achievement in life is Brick and Lewis, and I always carry that. He always said to me, Matthew, always cherish your children. Always put your kids first, no matter what it is. Whatever opportunity comes in your life, take it. And stand tall, be proud, and most importantly, always, cherish what you have. You might not have everything in life, he says to me, but whatever you do have, appreciate it. Most importantly, appreciate your children. And I always carry that with me to this day, even when he was still here with us and he was still alive. He always said to me, he was just, it's so hard to explain. And anybody who never met him, I wish you had met him, because he was just one of those people who always had time for people, always had time for someone, no matter what. And, he's so many funny memories as well. Some of the times back in the Bangor days where he was on the touchline, you see all these passionate football managers running up and down the line, screaming and shouting and bawling, yelling at linesmen and fourth officials and all. But I always say that Frankie was the king of that. He was just phenomenal. The way he conducted himself on the line. I'm surprised he didn't get so many more red cards and sent off more times than enough, because he was just so fucking passionate about it being a manager. He was just so driven, And then other people have met over the last few days, and people have spoken to recently, saying that even at his job in school, in his school he worked in, the pupils loved him. He was just, Mr. Wilson was so, again, using that word, infectious. And, you know, just listening to everybody speak about him the other day, and the funny thing about it is, he used to crack jokes all the time, and his brother mentioned it again the other day at his service. His friend the other day, he says, you know, I'm a legend. You know, I'm a legend. And to be honest with you, he is a fucking legend. He's an Irish League legend who will never, ever be forgotten. That man, I will carry in my heart and my thoughts forever. And the fact, when I was sitting there the other day and his brother was telling all the stories about his family and all the trips they used to have, a family home in Donegal, which he always used to talk about when he was at Bangor days. And, you know, we used to talk about, he always spoke about his kids. Loved his kids. Loved his wife so much. And then I found out how they recently met, And they said they compared the story that whenever Harry met Sally, that type of storyline, and it was just beautiful to hear. And his wife was a beautiful lady, and I never got a chance to speak to her at the funeral because there were so many people around her. And whenever Lewis and I got there the other day, it was still, even heading to the service the other day, it was just, it hasn't even sunk in yet, the fact that he's not even here anymore. And going through all of the old videos of him the last few days, I posted a couple so far. I'm going to post obviously a few more. I found some funny ones with him recently as well, where he was doing the crossbar challenge with Bangor, and the interview, his last ever interview with Bangor, was just fucking priceless. Where I asked him clearly. It was one of my first couple of interviews. I was only in the game not even just over a year, and I was still learning my craft as an interviewer and stuff for football and stuff, whatever. At the time, and I asked him, the fans, people in the street, the stands, and all are calling for your head, and his answer was, "I don't give a fuck, I'm monkeys." They didn't use the word fuck, but I don't give a monkeys. I'm going to post that interview. I don't care. He was just a character. He was so funny, and I keep using that word infectious, but he was just an absolute fucking legend, and my God, will I miss that man, something shocking. I was sitting at a service the other day, and I'm going to start crying here probably now talking this podcast, but when I went to his service the other day, I was just sitting there, and I was like, this is not Frankie. And his brother spoke very well. I go back to what his brother said. His brother said he's probably looking down at us now, all laughing, going, they're all there for me. I must be a fucking legend. It was just a joke that he used to crack, and he's sitting up there laughing, looking down at us now going, gee whiz, look at how many people turned up for me. I must have been loved. Guys, there was so many. That church was pulled to capacity, hundreds of people on the inside, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds outside. Like, Dad took Lewis night of the service. I'm sorry, I'm still a little bit weepy here, but I'm still a wee bit emotional talking about him. But, when I said to get back into Dad's car, and Dad went, holy shit, he must be willing to meet Dad. That man was loved more than you'll ever know. We were driving out of the service at the end, and there was a big honorary guard of all the pupils from his school, all in their uniforms, all lined up to say goodbye to him. And I actually made a point after the service to try and get to the casket to say goodbye. And Lewis and I went over through the crowds and stuff, and that's where we saw Ellie, his daughter, and we saw his son and his other daughter, and his other daughter and son are doing brilliant things in life. His son's going to become a lawyer, and his daughter's now playing GAA in the footsteps of his father for Andrew, which is fantastic. And I didn't get a chance to see his wife, but I'm going to give it a wee week or so, and I'm going to send her a wee text message or a wee Facebook message and just let her know that I was thinking about her and I was there and stuff. But I managed to get up to the casket before they put it into the car to take it away, and that was just a hard thing to do, guys. It really has. This just, life can be so goddamn fucking cruel. And the old saying goes, God takes the good ones first, and honestly, he has taken an angel this time, I'll tell you. Frankie Wilson was an absolute legend, a confidant, a friend. He just guided people through life. He helped people, just helped them get through their bad times. I mean, Even when I was going through the start of my divorce, he heard about it, and he sent me a wee text, which I still have to this day on my phone. Saying to me, keep strong, big man. You'll get through it. You'll be fine. I'm sorry to hear about what's happening and stuff. Keep the head up, big man. You'll be fine. And when I was standing in front of that casket the other day with Lewis, it just literally ripped my fucking heart out in that car park, and I got to say goodbye to him properly. And I couldn't stick around anymore, guys. I had to leave because I was just literally heartbroken. Just when you know someone and they make it, I always believe when someone comes into your life, it makes a complete difference in your life, and makes such a big impact. Cherish the moments with them, because life can be so cruel at times, and life can be so short, and in the blink of an eye it can be taken away. And in that case, it was taken away with Frankie, and I miss the man so much. He was just an absolute gentleman, and I'll always be indebted to him for what he done for me in my football career going forward. And after he passed away, over the last week or so, you've seen all these tributes going out about him, all across the Irish League. Even when the Northern Ireland Schoolboys team were playing recently, the first match since Frankie's passing, they done a minute's silence for Frankie, and all across the Irish League, every game. On the Friday night, we had a game against Ballyclare. We done a minute's silence for him across the road at the Oval. Glentoran and Larne were playing. They done a minute's silence all weekend long. All the teams across all sections of whatever league it was in, amateur league, the top table, the Premiership, the Championship, the Premier Intermediate League below that, amateur league football, everywhere across it, schoolboy football, everywhere you seen was all like doing tributes to Frankie. Because he was so, again, I want to use that word again, infectious. He was just, everywhere you went in Irish League football, everybody knew Frankie Wilson. Everybody had their special moment with him. Everybody has their own memories with him. And he's left a legacy that nobody will ever forget. And I'll always carry, I'm still in my journey in the Irish League now. I'm at 12 years, and I'm going forward now, and whatever my journey takes me in the Irish League, I'll always have Frankie with me. I'll always remember Frankie, and I'll always take him with me in my heart. And I'll always remember his sayings, and always remember the wee things that he told me, and I'll always remember what he taught me about his being a man. Being a man. When I met him, I was still in my mid to late 20s, and for what he taught me, I'll always carry with me till the day that I pass on to the other side. But Frankie was always one of those ones that I will always hold close to me, because he was just an absolute legend, and I will never, ever, ever forget him. And to be there the other day at his service, just the service was just perfect for him. He had a massive turnout at the service. There were so many people there showing their support and love for Frankie, and it was just wow. And he deserved it, because he was just so loved by everybody. Everybody loved that man so much. And I felt so bad for his daughter, 2 daughters, his son, and his wife. And, he can be proud of them, because, and they said in the wee booklet that they give at the door when you were going into the service was, all 3 of them said they were proud to be his children. And you know something? Goddamn right, because he was a great man, and he was such a fantastic father, a friend, a leader. He was just an amazing person, guys. And in closing, Frankie, I miss you. You mean a lot to me and my family for what you done for us, especially what you done recently for Lewis as well. You brought him into the Northern Ireland dressing room that time when you were managing the game, and you brought him in and you said to him, Lewis, you take away your photographs, you take whatever you need, son, whatever you need from this match tonight, it's all yours. Full access. Don't listen to them in charge up there. He says, you are with me tonight, he says. No matter what you want, it's yours. And you know something? He done the same for me. He brought me into the dressing room for team talks and all too as well. And he was just an unbelievable leader. Frankie, I love you. I miss you. I'll see you down the road, my friend. God bless you. Take care of yourself up there, and I'll see you in the other side one day whenever it's my turn to come along, and I'll see you up there. And maybe that one day we'll share a beer together and we'll have a chat and we'll talk about old times. Frankie, I love you. Take care, my friend. Right, guys, we'll move on. Sorry about that little... just a little bit upset. I'm going to probably get more upset actually talking about this Barbie subject. Sorry for this podcast being a little bit down and dreary this week, guys, but it's just been one of those fucking weeks where I'm literally ready for the hills. But anyway, yes, moving on. A lot of you have been asking me on email and stuff like that why have I not been podcasting since last week. Well, here's the bottom line. Basically, I announced it on a video the other day on my YouTube channel. If you haven't saw it, guys, you can go and check it out on my YouTube channel. I had a bit of a scare myself this past week, and to be quite honest with you, I'm still worried about it. A lot of people have been getting in contact with me, and all I'm going to say to you here is I've said the same thing on my YouTube channel, which I'm going to say here right now, and this is sincere. For everybody who picked up a phone or a tablet or switched on a laptop or whatever it is you use to contact me on, to ask how I am, they ask how I'm keeping, how my health is since my wee scare last week. Every single one of you's done that. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so fucking much for everybody who asked me how I was. Your support has meant a lot to me. And, you know, I've had that scare, and then obviously had the news on the Friday about Frankie passing. But here's just the long story short, guys, and thank you so much for all your support. Last Tuesday morning, I talked about this on the YouTube channel, but I want to cut it short here now on the podcast to tell you what happened as well. Last Tuesday morning, I woke up about 5:15 a.m. and literally I was in excruciating pain. I explained it on the video that I felt like Rambo had come along with his big knife and shoved it straight up my ass and ripped my ass apart. I had such a pain right up my back passage. It was fucking excruciating. And I mean, guys, I've had excruciating pains in my day, from football injuries, wrestling injuries. You know, I've almost broke my neck. I've broken bones. I've had pain in my teeth. I've had fucking everything. But this pain literally ripped me apart. I couldn't sit down. Even standing was fucking difficult. It was just so sore. So about 15 minutes after trying to ease the pain, which was impossible, I took myself into the bathroom where I checked where the pain was coming from, which was my back passage or my ass or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I found this lump about half the size of a golf ball. And literally at that particular time, I thought, oh shit. And I'm not being funny about that because of where it was. That was my reaction. What is going on here? Because I was at football the night before, and it was literally fine, and I went to bed, and I woke up and literally felt like Rambo had shoved this big fucking knife up my ass and ripped my ass apart. It was that sore. And I automatically thought the worst, so I took myself down the stairs after checking, made a coffee, was pacing the kitchen floors, couldn't sit in the chair, couldn't even lie down on my fucking side, couldn't move, couldn't do anything, and I automatically thought the worst. And again, I kept thinking of, you know, friends that have passed away with colon cancer. I know people who are getting treatment at the minute for bowel cancer. I was thinking about Frankie at the time as well. Neither did I know a couple of days later he had passed away. All these different things that were going on in my head at the time, thinking, shit. And the most thing I was thinking about the most was the kids. What happens if it's the worst? Your mind plays tricks on you. Your mind fucks with you. It makes you think all these different things. You know, the worst case scenario. I'm a warrior as it is. I'm one of the biggest fucking warriors you could ever think of ever. You know, and I'm obviously thinking the worst case scenario. What happens if it is the worst case scenario? What about the kids? What about the house? What about everything else? My family, mum and dad, Tony, the whole family. What the hell am I going to do here? So I got the kids up, got them off to school, and I literally was on my feet till about 11 a.m. that morning. Couldn't sit, couldn't stand, couldn't even hardly fucking stand, never mind that. So I phoned Dad. I bit the bullet. I was embarrassed, but I phoned Dad. And Dad was kind of like, my dad thought I was joking. He was cracking a joke and all, you're funny. Mate, no, Dad, seriously, I'm not joking. This is for real. This is fucking hurting me like mad. It's really sore. please, I don't ring the doctor. So I rang the doctor. Obviously feeling a bit embarrassed at the time, but I thought, something, I don't give a shit no more. I'm going to ring the doctor, speak to the GP, see what the crack is. So I spoke to the surgery. They said, right, okay, give this number and Ard's a call, Ard's Hospital, and they will obviously guide you to see what obviously you need to do next. So I was like, right, okay, no problem. So then I rang them and spoke to this girl on the phone who was fucking brilliant. She was so knowledgeable. She was so switched on. You speak to some of these fucking people nowadays and they're like fucking like speaking to a dog in the street. You get no fucking sense. But anyway, this girl was so switched on, so alert. She was unbelievable, explaining to her, and she went, right, okay, it could be this, or this. But what I'm telling you to do is, I'm not asking you, Mr. Moore, I'm fucking telling you, well, I didn't say swear, like, but she says, I'm telling you, get to the hospital now. So I'm like, right, okay, get to the hospital, as in A&E hospital. And she went, accident emergency, get up there now, get the reception, I'm going to tell them you're on your way, and when you get there, they'll do it, they'll sort you out. And I thought, right, okay, I thought about how they want to be local hospital, maybe got to be something done, whatever it is, and then I would have been sent home or whatever, maybe with a bit of cream or medication or whatever, rest up, whatever. But when you hear those words, the big hospital, any accident emergency especially, you think to yourself, oh, fucking shit. This is not good. So I ring Dad. Dad takes me to the hospital, and I end up being there till like, I don't know what fucking time, like 1 a.m. or something in the morning. And by this stage, when I got into Dad's car, was the only time I could try and sit down, and I couldn't sit down because I was lying on my fucking side the whole way up to the hospital, and I was in so much pain, I couldn't stick the pain, so it was that bad. Like, honestly, guys, at that stage, it was getting worse. The pain was getting more and more sore. It was just literally so fucking painful, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to turn. And again, my mind started playing tricks with me again. I was shitting my pants. I didn't know what to do. I was saying to Dad that I was worried, and Dad kept saying, listen, we'll get it sorted. No matter what it is, we'll face the fear. We'll get it done. Whatever obstacles put in front of you, we'll overcome it. We'll be fine. But at that stage, I'm literally sitting at, when I say sitting, you could just picture me lying in my fucking dad's car, looking like a complete nut, like the way I was sitting, or lying, sorry. So much pain, kept wiggling about, still sore, didn't know what to do, where to go. So I finally get the A&E. Come straight into the door, straight up to reception, get checked in, yes, we know you're here, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't sit the whole fucking time. Pacing the floors for hours on end. Brought me straight in, first of all, done blood tests, checked my blood pressure, checked all the necessary stuff that they needed to do, and then they left me sitting for fucking 2.5. Well, can't keep saying sitting, but I couldn't sit. I was standing for 2.5 hours. Pacing the floors. Dad couldn't park outside because there was no parking spaces, so Dad had to go and park across the road at McDonald's. Dad's sitting there, and at that point he had my wallet, he had everything else, all I had was my mobile phone, and I got to the point where it was like, right, okay, a couple more hours had passed, and I kept going into the fucking doctors and saying, listen, this is classed as an emergency. Well, so the doctor said at Arch Hospital. I'm left out here now, it's like 2, 3, 4 hours over at this stage now. Can you please see me? And they're bringing these, and this is the thing that fucking pisses me off about hospitals. You could be sitting there legitimately in the worst case ever, right? You could be in an absolute emergency, a big emergency, and they're bringing in people who are fucking pissed out of their skull, and bringing them in first and treating them first. There was a young girl that was there with her mum who literally needed emergency treatment, probably worse than me. She had a few underlying health problems and stuff like that there, and she was left to sit in the A&E department for hours on end. Her mum, who seemed a very patient and understanding woman, was starting to lose her shit, and there was even a wee elderly woman that was left as well who needed it because of people being brought in ambulances, found drunk in the street because they needed to have their stomach pumped or whatever, and there were people being brought in for stupid things as well. And I got to the point with me where I was starting to get a little bit agitated and a little bit fucking pissed off, where I was like, right, that is it, I need to go and speak to these people. So I took myself in. You know what, I don't like being disrespectful to people who work in the health service, because I worked with the elderly, I worked in the hospitals as well years ago, and I know what it's like when you're under pressure, especially at the minute with the whole shortage of staff, people getting sacked because of the fucking stupid COVID jabs and all that nonsense as well. But at the end of the day, I was in so much fucking pain. So finally, after about 5 hours of sitting there, Even missed the fucking Liverpool game. I was trying to check the Liverpool game on my phone, which we ended up beating Ajax, so I was happy about that. That kept me going for a wee bit. But cut a long story short, I ended up going into the doctor. The doctor brought me in and said, right, we're taking you down to this room. We're going to give you a scan. Again, when he said that word scan, the alarm bell started going off in my head again. My overthinking again started kicking in, thinking, oh shit, they're sending me for a scan, so it must be bad. So they brought me in this wee room, done a wee scan, then they brought me into another room, lay me on my side, filled me full of painkillers, of course, by this stage, because there was in so much pain. They'd filled me with cocotamol and ibuprofen, and it was just fucking, the painkillers weren't even working, guys, to be quite honest with you. The painkillers weren't even fizzing on me. I was just like, yeah, painkillers is not working. So yeah, at this stage it was like, right, okay. So they brought me in finally and they said, right, okay, Mr. Moore, we've done the scan, we're looking back for the results, but what we're going to do is right now, even though this big giant fucking lump sitting right at the end of your, and I'm sorry if you're easily offended about this, guys, but this is what he said. He was going to basically give me a prostate exam with the fingers up the bum, but the point was he was trying to I know I'm laughing about this, but it's laughable now, but at the time it wasn't. The lump was right beside where the hole of my ass is, and he wanted to basically go in and check. So you just imagine, if he's offended, obviously you can turn off now if you want to, like, but this is, you imagine what it's fucking like. I'm in so much pain. I feel like Rambo's come in with this big fucking knife ripping my ass apart, and this guy wants to basically come in and go, all right, sir, I want to stick these up your backside here to check your prostate at the same time. Now, I did say about this in my video, when you get to about 40 years of age, you're recommended to go and get a prostate exam if you're a man, or if you're a woman, go and get yourself checked, regular smear tests, check your breast for cancer and things like that there, which I recommend for anybody, anytime, get it done. But this guy basically wanted to give me a prostate exam for the first time ever. I was uncomfortable that is as well, getting that done. But the fact that I've got this big fucking lump the size of half of a golf ball sitting at the side of there as well, made it a little bit more fucking sore than normal. So you just imagine the pain that I was in when this guy was going in to check me to see if I was okay. And it was kind of like, okay, doc, go ahead and do it. Let's just say I was lying on a mattress, which was like a rubbery, foamy type mattress. Let's just say the pain was that sore I actually ripped a fucking hole in the mattress. And I had to apologise to the staff of the hospital for ripping it apart. And they've had like all different people giving birth, ripping these mattresses and all, and pulling away and all that there. This was that fucking sore I ripped it and actually tore a hole in it. And I apologised for it so many times. I felt so bad about it, but at the end of the day, it was the first thing I could grab to with this guy. I was going in to try and check to see if it was okay. And this fucking golf ball thing was literally sitting outside me, and it was so sore. It was unreal. But anyway, got that over and done with. Got the scan results back. And he came back and said, okay, it could be a couple of things here. We're not ruling out, we're sort of kind of ruling out the worst, but we're just going to give you this medication and creams and everything else. And I'm thinking to myself at the time, why the fuck didn't you just do that when I was speaking to you at a large hospital earlier on in the day? But then on the flip side of it, I was looking at it saying, if it had been the worst, it's a good thing that it did go to the hospital. It's a good thing that it did get checked, but they're still going to monitor the lump. Now, the updated status as we speak today on the whole situation is the lump has slightly shrunk, which is great. I'm due to go to the doctor on Monday. Still a little bit uncomfortable, but not as bad as what it is. I can sit down. It's not too bad. Going to the bathroom is a fucking nightmare for the first couple of days, but obviously the medications helped as well. At the moment, I'm still a little bit sore, a little bit tender, but the doctor did say to me that they are mostly, about 99% ruling out the worst. But when I go to the doctor next week, if the doctor isn't happy with it, they're going to go up inside me with the camera, which is not going to be very pleasant for all you men out there. They basically want to check me for everything because they're still not concerned, not a little bit concerned, but they just want to be safe. So the moral of this story, after me ranting for the last 10 or 15 minutes, is any men out there who find anything, I said this in the vlog the other day, the video, anybody out there who finds any lumps, bumps, whatever it is, even women, I know a lot of women out there listening to this podcast too as well, any women out there who find a lump on your breast or a lump under your arm or whatever, for the love of God, get your ass off your chair or wherever it is you are and go and get that checked. Because that could be the worst case scenario. Now, I'm sitting here every day, shit scared. I know it's probably not the worst, and I'm going to the GP on Monday, and they could turn around and say, oh, no, it's fine, cool. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually it will go away or whatever. No. I'm still sitting here, and this is recorded on Thursday. I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday to worry. I sit here every day thinking the worst case scenario. Is it this? Is it that? You know, what is the situation? You know, I have friends of mine who at the moment are going through treatment for cancer in the bowel, and I worry about them, but obviously think to myself, fuck, is that me? Am I going to be that one next? I'm overthinking. What the hell's the next case scenario for me? What's around the corner for me? But all I can say to you is, for anybody out there, no matter who you are, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed. I grew up in that generation where people don't speak out. And they're too embarrassed to go to a doctor about something like a wee lump or bump or whatever. I'll be fine, I'll go away in a couple of weeks. That could be a matter of life and death. So what I'm saying to you is, women, men out there, even young teenagers, anybody out there who finds anything, no matter what age you are, get it checked. Because if you don't, it could be a matter of life and death. It could be the worst case scenario. It could be something silly. But at the end of the day, get it checked, because it could save your fucking life, honestly. Because this last week or so has been hell for me. I have been worried and stressed to the high do. And the worst case scenario is I keep thinking the worst. I keep thinking about the kids. I keep thinking about my family. I keep thinking about, everything that could possibly be the worst. But I just try, guys. I'm trying to remain positive. But I've been trying to get this message out for everybody who have replied to the last week or so on emails and Instagram and all. I've been telling you the same. Thank you for your support. Anything, this is the message I'm trying to get out. Get fucking checked. It's worth it, trust me. It could be something simple to make go, it's just a wee whatever. Anything at all you find, not even the bump or bump, anything at all remotely not right about you, go get checked. And there's still a lot of people out there from the COVID bullshit saying, I can't bother the doctors because of COVID, and I can't go because the NHS is struggling. Bullshit. Get off your ass and get to the fucking doctor. Seriously, these people being fobbed off left, right and centre using COVID as an excuse, what a load of bullshit. Get up and get yourself checked, because it could save your fucking life, or it could be a matter of life and death, or whatever the situation is. Go get yourself checked. No more excuses. Get out there now and get it checked. And again, in closing to this subject, guys, thank you so much for all your support. It has meant so much to me. Even on the subject of even losing Frankie last week, a lot of you were mailing me, people on my Instagram who I didn't even know knew Frankie when they went to school. A lot of the younger ones have been mailing me the last couple of days saying the new Frankie from football, the new Frankie from school, all these different things. Thank you so much for all your support in that, and most importantly, thank you all your support in relation to me and my wee health scare I had last week, which literally scared the absolute fucking shit out of me. But at the moment, I'm trying to remain positive, I'm trying to stay positive, and guys, honestly, it means the world to me for all your support over the last couple of days. You honestly do not understand what it means to me. It really does mean a lot to me. In relation to that there, I've had a lot of messages from you, and there was one here. I got an email the other day, guys. You want to contact me on the show here, you can. MurarmyPodcast@yahoo.com. I got an email the other day. I wanted to read it because it stood out for me. I think it actually came, is it yesterday or today, maybe? It's from Ian. One says, I want to read this out to you because this actually really touched my heart. It says, hi Matthew, glad to hear you're okay. I can't read that now, I can't even see the glasses on. I and a couple of lads from work, him and a couple of lads from work. Honestly, I have no glasses on, guys, I apologise. Listen to the podcast at work. So thank you very much, all the boys, Ian and all your mates from work. I don't know where you work like, but thanks for listening to the podcast. I had a similar experience where I woke up in extreme pain and couldn't move. My GP thought it would be, is it prostate, whatever it was, and it turned out to be hemorrhoids. Okay, it was a horrible experience. My young lad enjoys the game content. Lewis does as well. I'll tell Lewis, I'll pass the word on to him. Brooke should bring her channel back and do makeup tutorials or something along those lines. I agree. Anyway, keep up the good work. Tell Lewis and Brooke I said hello. And to the snowflakes, screw them. Thanks, Ian, I appreciate it. Yeah, Ian, sorry I couldn't read it. I'm fucking no glasses on. But anyway, yes. Now, No, guys, honestly, thank you for all your support. I do appreciate it. And here, another thing I want to talk to you as well today before I go, guys. So I'm going to end this podcast shortly because I got to head out to football here shortly tonight. I don't normally go to football on a Thursday night, but I'm going this week for an hour or two because I've interviews to do for match preview for Saturday because we've got a long trip this Saturday away to Warm Point. Lewis and I are heading to Warm Point on Saturday morning, so woohoo, happy days. Guys, last Monday night, last Thursday night. Last Monday night was Halloween. Hope you all had a great Halloween out there. We had a pretty quiet Halloween, but it was good. We went along, as promised, to the Edom Church in Bangor. Myself, Brooke, Lewis, and just Dad. Mum didn't go. We went along. Wow, what a great night. Fantastic facilities for all ages, for kids, adults, whatever. Great fireworks display. But most importantly, we met so many great people there who came to the event because they listened to the podcast or they watch us on YouTube. So, I want to say thank you to everybody who came up to us last Monday night at the Edom Church. Wanted a picture, wanted to talk about the podcast, wanted to talk about my health, wanted to say, how much they love the videos and how much they've been supporting it. I actually met a family from Belfast who travelled down from Belfast just to come down to see the fireworks and stuff and also meet us. So they were called the Davison family, and they were fucking brilliant people. They were so nice, and oh my god, they were so great. Fantastic people. Met a load of local people as well out there last Monday night for Halloween. Go and check out the vlog, guys, from last Monday. It's on the YouTube channel, Mirror Army YouTube channel. Halloween vlogs there. You see the fireworks and you see a couple of wee bits and pieces that we do there as well. But yeah, guys, what a great time we had. So thank you very much for all your support and coming along to help the Edom Church last Monday night. People were complaining a wee bit because they had to let the fireworks off a little bit earlier, but it was because the weather was absolutely fucking horrendous that day. But guys, honestly, thank you very much for coming along last Monday. It was great to see you all there. Fantastic, really, really cool. But yeah, no, it was just so many people we ran into. It was like, oh my god, Matthew, we get photos and group photos and single photos and talking to people, and most importantly, everybody I spoke to all asked about my health, and it was really, really, really touching. Thank you so much for that, guys. I really do appreciate it again. I'm going to read out 2 or 3 emails here before I quickly go, guys, because I got to go and get ready here for football. So again, if you're listening to this podcast a little bit later on Thursday, I do apologise. I have one here from, I'm trying to pronounce this name, is it Nazarene, or I can't even pronounce that name, wants to know, hey Matthew, I listened to your podcast recently about the new Prime Minister. What's your thoughts on him? I personally think he's going to be absolutely crap. I come from the Asian community in London, and I'd like to know your thoughts on him. Me personally, I don't think he'll be a great Prime Minister. Okay, well, I'll answer that one quickly. I did say it. I think I did say it before, actually. I think he's going to be useless like the rest of them. Okay, you're from obviously the different ethnic group and stuff like that, and you feel that he's not going to be obviously good for you as a Prime Minister. I personally think it's bullshit, because especially over here at the minute with the whole situation going over here in Northern Ireland with the whole protocol nonsense and all the crap and Stormont, people are complaining about their winter payments they were supposed to get, and people were complaining about all the different things and all the politics and all the BS that's going on over here in Northern Ireland. Well, I think he'll be a good Prime Minister. Probably not, but he might prove me wrong. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I hope he proves me wrong and he manages to sort the economy out and sort different things out. But at the minute, a lot of people out there are still complaining and thinking, no, not a shit. So honestly, I don't think he'll be a great Prime Minister. But again, he may prove me wrong. Thanks for your question. I do appreciate it. I've one here from Bobby. Bobby is he's from Dublin. Hi Matthew, how you doing out there? So sorry to hear that you and your brother couldn't come to the concert. It was cancelled in Dublin, as you announced. I was due to go there myself with my 2 brothers. Here's hoping when the concert is rescheduled in the 3 Arena in Dublin, we'll be able to meet up for a pint of Guinness. Love the content, love the new podcast. Hope to see you soon in person, Bobby. Yes, that's right. We were supposed to go to a concert in Dublin, Tony and I, the Snoop Dogg concert, which was cancelled. I'm not a big Snoop Dogg fan. I like some of his songs, but Tony's more of a bigger fan of what he is. The show was cancelled because Snoop Dogg was married doing some more filming, whatever it is. So we'll be heading back down there again to do a vlog. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll keep your email and I'll reply to you closer to the time when it's announced, and we'll try and arrange something. And if you're at the concert, we'll hook up. I don't drink Guinness personally, Tony does, but we'll have a pint. So yeah, thanks for your email. I do appreciate it. And I'll send you an email closer to the time and we'll hook up for a pint. It'd be great to see you down there, so it will be. One last one before I go here, guys. This one's from Leighton. I hope I've got that right. Leighton wants to know, "Hi Matthew, how do you think your season will go for Liverpool, especially after the big win the other night against Ajax and then the bigger win again against Napoli?" Okay, how do I think Liverpool will finish? Well, we didn't play overly great the other night, but we did win 2-0. Wasn't a great game. It's one of the weird ones as well, because I was supposed to be at that game, which I normally don't miss home Champions League games, but it wasn't there. And even the live reaction video that we done, I couldn't jump up and down like I normally do, like an absolute fool, because I was sitting on the chair in pain. But anyway, yeah, how do I think we'll do? The way our season's been going at the minute, if I finish top 4, I think I'll be happy. So there you go. Thanks for your email. Guys, I want to go here now, because I got to rush off here now and get ready to go to football here with Lewis tonight, because I got to go up and do some interviews and whatever else for Welders TV. Lewis and I are on our travels this weekend to Warren Point. I haven't recorded a vlog today, but I'll probably record one tomorrow, which will be Friday, and then obviously we're going to record a video in Warren Point on Saturday as well, so it's going to be fun. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go here. So once again, you know, your support means a lot to me. It's just phenomenal the amount of people like support this channel and support our podcast and everything else. It's just amazing. And the interviews that I promised you with the cost of living crisis, I'll get those out on down the road, guys. I have got them here, but I will get them out eventually. I just don't want to do today's podcast obviously dedicated to Frankie, because obviously he meant so much to me and he was just a close dear friend of mine, and I wanted to dedicate this podcast to him. So before I go, I want to obviously send my thoughts and prayers to Frankie's family. And you know, it's just been one of those weeks, guys, where everything just seems to be snowballing into one thing and the another, and it's just been one of those weeks where I'm coming at your side, trying to stay positive and trying to feed off your feedback as a listener or as a viewer of the channel, of our YouTube channel, and trying to keep the positivity with Brooke and Lewis and more. So it's been one of those weeks, guys, and I'm just trying to come out of the other side with a smile on my face, because I know Frankie wouldn't want me sitting around moping about. He'd want me up there getting on my football job and whatever else. So thanks for all your support, guys. Do appreciate it. So once again, guys, if you want to check us out on our social media account on Instagram, the Facebook fan page, or on my YouTube channel, drop a like on that for us. We'd appreciate it. Once again, if you want to get in touch with Tuesday's podcast coming up, give us a wee email, mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. I will obviously sound a bit more upbeat next week. So, well, obviously just to sound a bit down today, guys, just a little bit emotional. And also, if you want to get some merch, and obviously check out all the stuff to do with the Mirror Army, mirrorarmy.co.uk. That's the main website for all the stuff you need there as well, guys. Right, I'm going to dash off here to football. Gotta go. Guys, once again, love you all. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate all your support. Frankie, I love you. You mean the world to me, and well, you'll never be forgotten. Okay, guys, until Tuesday, enjoy your weekend, whatever you're up to. I'm going to go now and get ready for football. It's going to be another busy weekend of football. And until next week's podcast next Tuesday, I'll catch us all down the road, guys. Thanks for listening.